Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer this afternoon, Logan Landers, and joining me to talk about the very talented defensive tackle, Braden Fiske, coming out of Florida State. Go Seminoles. As always, our very talented writer for firstroundmock.com. Also, a guy who's been helping us out on the video side the past couple of weeks, Mr. William Yanish. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing all right, man. How about yourself?
Doing good today, man. Doing good today. Excited to talk about this hot prospect. And before we get into it, though, before we talk about him and do a deep dive into what we like and his skills and assets, if you enjoy the video, everyone, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe on our social media channels. Facebook and YouTube are the main two, but you can also go and check out our podcast every single week on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks to the Believe Podcast Network. We've been uploading for well over a year, so go over there and check out all of our previous other episodes as well. Well, Mr. Yanish, I'll go ahead and give you the ball here first. And I would say, if I give you the ball, you might want to run away because Braden Fiske is going to run after you. So give us your thoughts on this guy coming out of Florida State.
Oh man, I just picked this one up yesterday too. Another player for me to go after, but no, Braden Fiske out of Florida State, man. I mean, I turned on the film and just starting to get to know this guy and everything else, and all the buzz starting after the combine, and uh, everything's starting to really get warmed up for the draft. But no, this Braden Fiske is, I mean, he reminds me of this player that I was doing last year, and that was Lucas Van Ness from Iowa. And I mean, they definitely, it's same type build, same style play. I mean, 6'4", 292 pounds here with Braden, and I mean, he's definitely got some skills on the football field. I mean, he can line anywhere up along on the defensive line. That was actually one of the questions I had last year with Van Ness, wondering where to put them, whether they'd be best at end, in a 3-4, or whether they'd be best at tackle in a 4-3, depending on, 3 technique, 5 technique, I mean, but it pretty much comes down to the fact that, they can line up, in a few different places, depending on what, situation, what kind of versatility, you need. I mean, even though, you call somebody a tweener and that's kind of like maybe he's not big enough, but I mean, that doesn't fit this guy. I mean, this guy's got his first step, I mean, and just the short area burst he has anyways, between here and next guy over, just, I mean, the havoc that this guy can wreak, just, and it, just the area, the small area around him, I mean, he reminds me of a JJ Watt type. That's not a comparison, I'm not going anywhere close to that, but it's the fact that he's that type of player, I mean, he has, due to strong, I mean, he's got good work ethic. He's got a motor that doesn't stop, I mean, and he knows how to use leverage, I wouldn't even call it a first step, when he's moving, it's like, a leap, you know, uh, as soon as the ball is snapped, I mean, he uses his hands, he gets into hand fighting a lot, I mean, and he wears down, the lineman in front of him. I mean, he's can move quick laterally, he can do anything you want to be able to, get to the quarterback, or, even penetrate so you can stop stop a run for a loss. I saw a ton of that, in just the little bit of film that I watched from him. you know, I mean, he was always doing something. He was always bursting in somewhere, you know, to get, you know, to the ball. You know, I mean, he literally swarms to the ball, and that's just what he does. You know, I mean, just all you got to do is tell that guy to get you the ball, and I mean, that's what I saw. You know, with 33.5 inch vertical, you know, I mean, he had 26 reps on the bench. You know, I mean, he's tone, he's built, he's, you know, they've got him projected on a NFL mock draft database. I believe in the second round, and I mean, I believe that would definitely be some great value for him and what you would, you know, be able to do with him as a player. You know, I mean, for the short time that I had to look at him, I mean, it was exciting football to watch, you know, and I think this guy can come in. He's a player. He can come in and, you know, start learning some things. And I think he will definitely be a really decent, you know, NFL player.
Yeah, no doubt about that, man. I think that when you look at Braden Fiske, he's a guy who I think that if you looked at him before the combine, you'd say he's a solid player, right? He's a good player overall, but I think, like you mentioned, the way that he shined at the combine is what kind of is making draft scouts and team executives to chomp at the bit now, I would say, to get him. You mentioned how well he did and how good he looked. I mean, he ran a 4.78 40, which led all defensive tackles. Also had a vertical jump of 33 and a half, a broad jump of 9.9. I mean, that is a freak athlete right there. And when you look at him, obviously he's played a lot of football, right? He's
Yeah.
been at Florida State for quite some time. Um, but he's done some good work. We saw obviously with how well the team as a whole did this past year. But this is a guy who's been playing football, um, at Florida State this past year. But before that, did some good work at his previous alma mater, Western Michigan. Has been playing since 2019, so he's got 5 years of experience on the line. Senior, obviously 6'5", as you mentioned, right around 300. And this was his best year in a lot of when it comes to just how well he performed national level. 6 sacks this past season. He had a total of 43 total tackles, 17 of those being solos. And we know with Florida State that everyone looked at the offense, with Jordan Travis, and rightfully so, really good team. But he was a big part of their success on defense, on the line. And when you look at him, some things I like about him, some of his strengths, um, is he's a guy who, as you mentioned, really good combo of size and speed, with just the quickness you get from him, the leaping ability. You're going to see this guy, William. You're going to see him batting down a lot of passes, I think, in the NFL. Someone who is going to just that quick jump that you need, that you see some of the big guys on the defensive line get. I think you're going to see Braden Fiske. If there was a stat for that, he might be leading that on the defensive line, because just of how large he is, but also his insane leaping ability. I also like you mentioned, he's aggressive. He's got heavy hands. He can push offensive linemen back with his strength alone. But I think that might be something he could work on. Is yes, he's a power rusher, but if he can start to work on some finesse moves, right? Maybe a swim move or something else to add to his arsenal, so he isn't just more so of a one-dimensional type of rusher. That is what I think could potentially elevate his game at the next level. Because if you're gonna want to succeed in the NFL, you've got to come at offensive linemen with the kitchen sink pretty much. These guys are 5, 10 year pros. They've seen it all, and they are gonna do their hardest to keep their quarterback upright. But I love this dude's motor, his violentness, as he said, the way he's able to just attack at will. And I think overall, if Braden Fiske, I feel like if he can get the right coaching, the right D line coach, to just, I wouldn't even say improve, but fine tune what he's already done with the amount of football he's played. He knows what it's like. He knows what to do. He knows to grind it out. I think that if you get the right coaching staff and the right veterans around him, this is someone who could be obviously a very talented player, but has, I think, a lot of untapped potential. If you draft him, whatever round that he will get drafted and get picked in, someone who could really develop, I think, quicker and could make a big impact at the next level if coached right and if he develops the way that I think the two of us think that he has the potential to be. Your final thoughts, William, on Braden Fiske, defensive tackle out of Florida State?
Like I said, he's versatile. He can play ball. I mean, I like him. So
I'm not saying not much less you could say. I think he is a guy though that I think if I had to put him, he leaves you speechless. And obviously, he's super talented, and I'm excited to see where this young man's going to go come the 2024 NFL draft, which is coming up right around the corner. And guys, if you want to check out all of our other draft coverage we've done tons of players. I need to go and check and see how many we've done just so far, but I think it's got to be at least over 100 for sure. But we've definitely been covering all bases here on the channel. Myself, William, Vincent Turner, obviously Mr. Football, and our draft scout, former NFL draft scout, Daniel Kelly. We've all been putting in some work already over the past couple of weeks and months, and it's going to keep getting hotter and hotter. We're going to keep talking about more and more players. We're also going to be talking about draft needs as well for each individual team, all 32. So be sure to mark that on your calendars. Be sure to subscribe on Facebook and YouTube so you don't miss a single upload. We go live every single week. For my co-host today, Mr. William Yanish, as always, sir, it's a pleasure talking some ball with you. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Go and enjoy some football. Go watch your draft footage, and we'll see you